So for me, it wasn't about being the woman in the room. It was more about trying to focus on my role and my job, my purpose, the kind of impact that I wanted to make.
That cybersecurity is not just about wires and walls. It's more about sovereignty, survival, and security. That's where we come in. The urgency that we need to inculcate cybersecurity frameworks into our organizations, whether it is government, whether it is private, whether it is public, and colleges, universities. So, yeah.
Cybersecurity is a mindset. It's not a skill. I mean, though it includes skills, you should know many skills, but it's all about, a mindset about, you have to keep security first. Think in Java. There was a book. So you have to think in terms of security, and I would also say in terms of privacy.
How can understanding human emotion help us defend against social engineering and disinformation attacks? More so towards disinformation. Good afternoon and good evening. Welcome to Canadian Women in Cybersecurity on the Executive Track. The title of this track is How Women Leaders Are Shaping the Future of National Cyber Resilience, especially in emerging economies across Asia, the Middle East, and Canada. Now, this panel brings together some remarkable leaders and experts from across the globe. We have Dr. Swapnil here from India. We have Mubeen here from Pakistan, and Betania we have from the beautiful country of Saudi Arabia. Now, the conversation here that we're going to really dig into is focused around three things: leadership, localization, and agency. And what we want to explore is, what does it take to build a cyber resilience when infrastructure is still developing, number one, and how are women navigating these spaces and rewriting these rules? And really, at the end, how can we collaborate globally for success? So we're going to dig right into this, and I'm going to jump right in, and I'm going to start off with Dr. Swapnil. I'm going to go to India here, to the beautiful city of Bangalore. What has your journey been as a woman leading a national cyber policy in your region?
Hey, thanks, Mahdi. My journey has been more of that of a techie. So basically, it all started with as a software engineer who was intrigued with this term called security. And there were well-established teams in network security and system security. So I took initiative in database security, um, conducted various awareness program, did knowledge sharing, had some projects. And it was later when I kind of enrolled for a PhD. I took a deep dive into the amalgamation of security with privacy. And this was a thought through idea. This was based on what was happening in the healthcare landscape in the country. There were a lot of policies that were getting formulated, standards, frameworks. So the research work that I have been associated with has been in the area of how we can build this security and privacy preserving controls. And currently, they are being applied in various projects in the mental health space. Uh,
Amazing.
yeah, they're being used,
Got
and
it.
those projects are of national importance.
Yeah, Dr. Ann Kavukian in 1990 developed Privacy by Design. And for the viewers here, she is speaking actually at the final keynote. And she's a very good friend of mine. I've learned so much from her. And someone else that I would love to learn from right now is Betania, and that is you get to travel around the world. So you're a very unique person. For those that want to follow her on LinkedIn, she has a very interesting life where she gets to travel around the world and hear from unique uh, leaders about different strategies. But the lens I want you to focus in on is around women, because this is an event called Canadian Women in Cybersecurity. What common strategies that you would give advice to the thousands of people that are listening to around strategies that women can bring to succeed in their respective country?
That's a great question. And thank you so much, Mahdi, for an incredible team of CyberX for the kind invitation. It is a pleasure for me to be here today with you, with these amazing women. And as you said, I'm Betania. Just a quick intro for those who don't know me. I am originally from Argentina. I am currently in Saudi Arabia and Riyadh. It is very hot in here. I'm a tech and cybersecurity lawyer, tech lawyer, policy expert. I have a background in law and a passion for shaping responsible AI and innovation. And I, as you said, had the privilege of working across regions from Latin America to the Gulf now, but been all over. I worked at the United Nations in New York City before, and that gave me a lot of exposure to different problematics and also solutions. And yeah, I'm truly honored to be here. But going back to your question on kind of strategies and focused on women, I do resist putting leadership into gendered boxes, if you will. But truly, many women in cybersecurity, I think, that lead with integrative thinking, multitasking, and I would say more emotional intelligence. I've seen here, for example, in Saudi Arabia, women build trust across ministries, tech teams, regulators, often under immense pressure, because it's true that we have to sometimes, in certain contexts, especially when we work in male-dominated spaces, we feel that we need to prove ourselves a little bit more. And imposter syndrome also comes in sometimes. So for me, it wasn't about being the woman in the room. It was more about trying to focus on my role and my job, my purpose, the kind of impacts that I wanted to make, whether it was, translating global frameworks into local resistance. So that, of course, required a lot of listening and contextualizing and negotiating, patience. So I think that those skills are often underestimated, and when preparing women and men for tech roles, but are absolutely vital.
And it's a couple of times I've heard throughout the theme throughout has been emotional intelligence. And I want to take this to Mubeen, and that is, one of the cool things you do is you teach cyber warfare. And, we're living in a world now where that word is top of mind. The battle is no longer fought with swords. They're now fought digitally. So in this high pressure, you know, cyber warfare scenario that we're living in, how do you lead with logic and empathy as a leader? I know I know we did. So a lot of these questions, just for the viewers, we're not planned. I'm just throwing them at as well. So we do have a couple of questions, but I'm kind of doing an audible. So it's an audible here, Mubeen.
That's a wonderful question. And actually, when I started studying cybersecurity myself, and when I was working on cyber weapons specifically, it was not an easy thing for me to, even work on it actually as an international relations graduate, and then moving into the world where it was for me like decoding a system that wasn't even built for me, you know.
Interesting.
But I headed it with, it was passion, patience, and then purpose. I wanted to do something because there are so many techies, great techies in Pakistan. They're doing a great job in cybersecurity, and they're doing great job in information technology and everything. But when it came to me specifically, it's about intent. It's a war. It's about making people realize that cybersecurity is not just about wires and walls. It's more about sovereignty, survival, and security. That's where we come in. And then making my point and making them understand how it is so important. That was big of a task. And then even my students, even it's the academia or the policymakers themselves, women, not much seen on the tables. And when we have to raise a voice, you have to translate each and everything, like to techies, the technical details, and to the policymakers. They don't take it seriously about what threats they can bring. But it was a difficult task, and I hope for the last many years I have tried to develop that sense of empathy and a sense of a survival into the minds wherever I went. So yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. And Dr. Swapnil, but go ahead, please.
If I can,
in,
if I
everyone.
can jump in just
Please.
1 second, because I'm very
Please.
excited to know that you come from international relations, because I did my master's in international relations as well, and I focused in international security, and that's when I started getting increasingly interested in technology and trying to bridge those worlds, and using, building upon my legal background. I saw this gap between the regulators, the innovators, the policies that were not efficient because we're lacking the right language, because we cannot communicate amongst each other. So that was a little bit my vision. So if you see this kind of weird blend of skills that I have, it was with the purpose of trying to bridge all those worlds. So I'm glad that I'm not the only crazy one.
And you know what? I think everyone in cybersecurity thinks they're crazy. Who isn't crazy if you're working in cybersecurity with the constant threats that are out there? And speaking of threats, and Dr. Swapnil, I want to touch on emotional intelligence, because it's been the conversation throughout. Just yesterday, something very important happened around the world, right? Right now, we know it's May 14th, 4:12 p.m. Pakistan and India are currently right now, or have been in the last little bit, having their difficulties from a geopolitical sort of situation. You have Donald Trump, the president of the United States, who was just in Saudi Arabia yesterday with a different sort of message. That message is carried into where I want to take this with you, Ms. Dr. Swapnil, on the mental health side. How can understanding human emotion help us defend against social engineering and disinformation attacks? More so towards disinformation, if you could talk about that. And number one. And number two, when it comes to health, wellness, with your brain as individuals, because you're constantly feeling you're crazy. And you're constantly telling people, hey, something like this could happen and things can get crazy. How do you deal with that? You're on mute.
Okay, so now we are deviating from cybersecurity to mental health. So, yeah, I mean, it's like the resilience is something that, or you can say the mental strength, and thinking objectively, even in the time of crisis, is something that can help. Uh, and yeah, mental health is, I think it's a vast subject in itself. So, uh, yeah, I would just say, if you
That's
are
fine.
resilient, it would help.
Okay, great. I want to go to collaboration now. And I'll open this up to anyone that wants to take a first stab at this, and that is, can you share an example of successful cross-border, cross-sector collaboration that has helped improve resiliency in your country?
Yeah, I can definitely go.
Please.
An example comes to mind. So I had a privilege of working for one of the Giga projects here in Saudi Arabia. For those who don't know, there is a strategy that is very comprehensive that comes, of course, from the government that is called Vision 2030. Yes. So there are a set of goals to be accomplished by 2030, by the year 2030, and they go across different sectors. But the common element, I would say, is that technology is pretty much embedded in every single fiber of those initiatives. And one main point of those initiatives are projects that are called Giga projects because they're massive, because of their ambition and how groundbreaking they are. One of them is NEOM, which is what we call the first cognitive city, because it's not only a smart city to be built from the ground up, but also it has all sort of elements that make it a cognitive city. But to not make the story super long, I was working in cybersecurity. I was the cybersecurity director over there, and I was leading cybersecurity and awareness, but I was also working a lot with partnerships and innovation within the organization, but also for, as a visible, as a face of the CISO office in conferences. And we worked a lot with universities, with the local authorities, with the National Cybersecurity Authority, which is a regulator here. And there is a massive conference every year that is called the Global Cybersecurity Forum that brings leaders from all around the world. And its institute is a sort of think tank that it kind of comes from the conclusions of those conferences. So I had to build a working group that we call the knowledge communities, in which our role was to bring experts from all over the world who were experts in cybersecurity and smart cities, but from different perspectives. And I wanted to make it as geographically diverse as possible. And I didn't have a lot of time to do that. But our goal was, to bring in regulators and global private sector experts and co-develop a cyber resilience blueprint, if you will, for smart cities. And that collaboration brought together engineers, psychologists, lawyers, civil society, policymakers. It was a rare mix, but so powerful. It wasn't easy, of course, but it worked because we really aligned our values beyond, KPIs and, getting things done blindly. So that in the end, the outcome was, a paper, but the whole process of bringing these people together, I think, is the perfect example of, cross-border or cross-sector collaboration towards a cybersecurity product, in this case, for a smart city.
Amazing. So speaking about 2030, in Pakistan, these visions are globally sort of recognized around the world. In Pakistan, you have the establishment of the national CERT. You have national cybersecurity authorities. You have legislations coming in. You have capacity coming in, et cetera, et cetera. Mubeen, from your standpoint, what's one big change Pakistan needs to make to be more cyber ready by 2030?
Since it's all about women in cybersecurity today, so I will focus on the point that Pakistan should really focus it should be an inclusive approach, not just I know it's unnecessary to bring gender into every debate, but sometimes it's necessary also, because there are female politicians in Pakistan, there are female journalists in Pakistan, there are female celebrities in Pakistan. One way or the other, they are targeted. like cyber violence and cyber harassment, or even we don't even talk about how ransomware even impacts women politicians. You know how these debates like must be tackled, or how economically they are burdened by cyber attacks, because we are a cyber vulnerable country and women constitute more of our population. So I think like from this should be one of the major points that should be added in Pakistan to be ready in like 2030. And also I believe that I think I know it coming from a place where I know I am also working and people are great and they are doing so much better in this field, but I still think that we need more capacity, we need capability, and we need some things that are a little bit lacking. Like one of the biggest things, mindset, the urgency that we need to inculcate cybersecurity frameworks into our organizations, whether it is government, whether it is private, whether it is public, and colleges, universities. So yeah,
No,
that's
that's
what I
very
can think of right
powerful.
now.
And I know it's 30 minutes, and how do you cover what we're talking about in 30 minutes
True.
and do justice to it? You can't. And Dr. Swapnil, there's a message in the chat that has come through. You mostly answered my question before I could finish typing. As we design cyber resilience strategies for the increasing complex and high stakes digital environment, how can we better integrate human resilience, particularly addressing the mental health toll on women in cybersecurity roles, into our technical frameworks for sustainable, inclusive defense and response? I know that's a lot. So if you could just take one powerful sentence or a couple of sentences for us that the viewers can take from that question, that would be very powerful.
All right. So, yeah, I do understand, that there is a gender divide in the cybersecurity domain as such, which, we heard Mubeen also talking about it. So, now there are reasons why it is there. Maybe the kind of image that we have about, like cybersecurity, I mean, how can a woman be there? What role can she play? So I would say that, if you're talking about the mental health toll, the message that I would like to give to the women here is, all the women who are here, is that cybersecurity is a mindset. It's not a skill. I mean, though it includes skills, you should know many skills, but it's all about, you know, a mindset about, you have to keep security first. Think in Java. There was a book. So you have to think in terms of security, and I would also say in terms of privacy. And then how you can, build a system that is secure, that is privacy preserved, that can offer privacy protection. Okay, and it's all about being curious. It is all about being, paranoid about what you're doing. So I would say it's a journey. Just go on that journey, just leave all the apprehensions, and they will certainly do a good job.
And everyone always looking at getting to the destination. It's the journey that makes it
It's a journey.
beautiful. We have 8 minutes left, and I'm going to do something a little bit different here. We're going to do a quick roundtable. So everyone needs to be ready. I'm going to throw some rapid fire questions that have single answers to them. Maybe a word, maybe a statement. So if we can keep your response very simple, so that way we can, there's a few really fun ones that you will enjoy. So you ready? All right, here we go.
Yes.
NIST or ISO? Who's your favorite? What's your favorite framework, I guess, and why? Mubeen?
Actually, for Pakistani people, I'm speaking on behalf of Pakistani people. We love Nest, but we also love ISC also. So first vote to ISC and then Nest. Yes.
Got it. Dr.
Because
Swapnil? Yeah, please tell me
yeah,
why.
sure.
Why? I would love to know why. Why Pakistan people?
Yeah. Actually, Actually, these frameworks, they're not controversial. They're not something that you can debate about and you cannot add to it. There are so many organizations, and there's an industry in Pakistan who is still lacking the capacity of incorporating these frameworks. So
Sure.
those who
Same in
are, I
Canada.
think ISC and NIST, they're the best
This
startups.
cyber poverty is a problem that is across the world. It's not just in first world countries, but it's everywhere. Dr. Swapnil, NIST or ISO, and why? And very quickly, please, because I got a few more of these fun questions I would love to go
I
through.
think both are being used here, and depending upon the application. And I would say there is a push also. I mean, the government is encouraging people to go for these framework, organizations to go for them.
Perfect. Betania?
It's a difficult one. But I think there are starting points. As you said, they are the journey, not their destination, I think. I think that we look at NIST and ISO, but we need to reframe them through the lens of, sovereign priorities, cultural values, national strategies. So I think that localization is in dilution. I think it empowers. So Personally, I will go for NIST perhaps because of my own personal journey. But if we talk in general, I would just say they are the starting point and not the destination.
Love it. First thing you do as a cybersecurity minister for a day. I'm going to go to you. Yeah, going to go to you first because I know you would want to be a cybersecurity minister. So what was the first thing you would do?
First thing, create a cybersecurity agency. Because then the next president comes and says, no, we don't need the cybersecurity ministry, but at least the cybersecurity agency will stay.
Oh, like that. Very political. She's already becoming a minister. Mubeen?
I will try my best to put policymakers and the techies on one table and come on a consensus first. I will empower the policymakers like myself.
Empower the policymakers. I love it. Dr. Swapnil?
Yeah, I mean, as being part of this ministry, bridging the gap between the policymakers and the techies is the need of the hour. And that would be my focus as well.
Okay, here's the next one. Biggest cybersecurity myth you're tired of hearing. You still hear it every day and you're like, are people still asking me this question? Or people still think this? What's the biggest myth? Go ahead.
The cybersecurity is not as critical as you people think. It's easy. There is no war in the cyberspace because it doesn't exist.
I know. Isn't it weird that people still say that? Dr. Swapnil?
That cybersecurity is all about regulations and compliance.
Isn't it? I'm joking. Betania?
When people say hackers, only to refer to the bad guys.
Ooh, good one. Okay, here's the next one. And we got about 2 minutes left. So, and I'm hoping you can dig down deep for this one as the last question that I'll be asking. If you could go back to the first time you entered cybersecurity, what would you tell yourself that is relevant today? Not like what you would have done in the beginning, today. Something you can tell yourself that had you done this or reminded yourself about would be relevant today and would really help you a lot. I'll go back to Mubeen.
That's a personal question that I always ask myself, and I always console myself with that question also. I wish that the studies that I dropped back in my school, after my schools, I should have continued studying cybersecurity, information security, and computer science in my bachelor's and master's also.
Don't we all feel that same way?
I had to learn the harder way.
Don't we all feel the same way? Don't we all feel the same way? And then we try to teach our children this and we give everyone advice. Oh, you should be studying and this and that. But the first thing you want to do is not study and go in the real world. This is the problem that we all have. Dr. Swapnil?
I think cybersecurity, as I already said, it's a mindset we cannot teach. It's what you learn are the skills, but cybersecurity cannot be taught. So yeah, I think if I had a kind of aggressive mindset, so I could have gone for the offensive security aspect rather than going for the defensive part. That is something I think.
Awesome. I love that. Very impactful. And go ahead, please. I can't
Yes,
wait
for
for this
me,
one.
it was also it is also a very personal answer because perhaps I wish that when I decided my career, I was I trusted in myself enough to pursue something more technical. Cybersecurity wasn't perhaps the name of it, but perhaps computer science was. But life
Life
is
is,
okay.
it's one of those things. You know what? We have time for one more. And I was saving this for the end, but this is a message, as you are the final session before we have Dr. Ann Kavukian, for Canadian women in cybersecurity that has come to an end. So I'm going to ask you to be less than 10 seconds. And that is, what is your hope for women in cybersecurity in the next 5 years? What is that one hope you want to send for all the women that are listening, and men and everyone else, that you would like to send? I'm going to start off with Dr. Swapnil from India. We'll go to Pakistan, and then we'll go to Saudi Arabia.
Okay, I see them as working in tandem with the male cybersecurity professionals. See them as leading various cybersecurity initiatives and innovations.
Beautiful. Mubeen?
I think the shift has to be like lead the shift from reactive cybersecurity to resilient cyber culture, not just by securing systems, but by rewriting the norms by female professionals.
Yes.
Yes.
I believe that, I totally second Mubeen in this one, that women not just shape cyber resilience, they will define it to its very foundation. I see in 5 years, I think you said, women from all over the world, but particularly from the global south, not only implementing frameworks, but also writing them. I think that we'll build a future where resilience also means inclusive governance, ethical technology, and also something I always advocate for, a seat at the table for every voice that has been too long left out to be heard, not as a favor, not as a favor, not as a quota, but as a necessity for progress. So that would be my hope.
And so thank you very much. Thank you for all three of you from joining us from all over the world at this late time. We're over on time, so I'm just going to cut this short and say thank you again on behalf of Canadian Women in Cybersecurity for a time. We would love to have you back. This was a great conversation, and we'll see you all soon. And for everyone else, Dr. Ann Kavukian is coming up next.